Aries. My name is Tanya, and I'm going to be doing a month ahead reading for you for January. Now, I am going to pull tarot, but I'm also going to pull an oracle card at the end. And after I do an intuitive interpretation of it, I am going to read directly from the book for it because I am enjoying this and learning more about each card. So, let us start out with tarot. I did pre-shuffle, and these have been challenging me for shuffling. So we'll just take what we can get here. I hope you're having I hope you have a fabulous year in 2024. Let's see what we have for Aries for January. What does Aries need to know for January? Okay, starting out with the Five of Wands, the Nine of Wands, Temperance, the Hanged Man, and Scooch. The Six of Chalices. So I'm just going to take a look at these and then see what comes through, and then I'll get into each card. I'll also pull a card from the bottom of the deck once I'm done with that. And you may hear my dog. She wants my attention, but I'm focused. It feels like you have a lot going on here at the beginning of the year. A lot of things going through your head, a lot of activities. Might be feeling a little bit exhausting. But you will have some rest, some time to pause here at the end of the month. Just don't go to extremes. You don't want to go extreme. How do I want to put it? It's like you don't want to overdrink, but you can still go out with some friends and have a good time. Not even necessarily with drink, but don't go too hard in any one direction, and also don't just stay home for the whole month. So get out. You want to find some balance in your activities, especially with the first part of the month seeming so full of activity and stuff going on. You will have time to pause, but you almost want to ease out of it, ease out of that energy, because it feels like stopping abruptly. I don't know, it's almost like it would be a shock to your system or something like that. So you want to wind things down. You don't want to just stop things. Okay. That's it from the guides. Let's see what the cards have individually. We're starting out with the Five of Wands. So some competition, some challenge, jostling for position. This could be with work. It could be at home. It could be a literal competition too, if you're starting off the year with something. But it's very active, and everybody's passionate about their position and how they want to do things. This isn't about helping others achieve their goals. You need to focus on what it is that you want, what it is that you're passionate about, and what you want to do. That you need to act quickly. You need to be decisive and feel bold about it. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to tell people what it is that you want to do. But you do need to act quickly on it. And you need to stay up on your toes, stay on your toes. Pay attention. And yeah, just stay focused on what you're doing, not what anybody else is doing. Stay focused on what you're doing as you're going through this. And then we come to the Nine of Wands, which is nearing the end of that battle. It's coming to completion, and you're tired and battle worn almost, and feeling that exhausted, feeling the low energy, but you're not giving up yet. You have enough to push through. That Aries fire is building up in there. So you're not giving up. You're almost at the end of the journey, but you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. You got to keep going. But you're almost there. It's almost done. It's almost over. It's almost time to wind things down. And that's followed up by the Temperance card, which is a major arcana card. And this is a card about both balance and alchemy, about changing, transforming, modifying a situation, or modifying, what is it that they want to modify? There's some method, there's some technique that you need to modify. So be aware of that. There's something you're going to need to modify or fine-tune. Something. So it's like you're getting to the end of a project or the end of something, and there's a few loose ends to tie up. But in order to tie those up, you might have to shift some things around, or do it a different way, or make a last-minute change in order to get it to work. That's what's coming through, so that's what we're going with. And then also balance. So you're starting to find your balance now in this month. So this is that period of winding down between intense activity and rest. So easing down, maybe it's some celebrations or something going on here, like getting to the end of something and then taking the time to go out and meet up with friends or something to celebrate the success, to celebrate the completion of that portion of the month, of that activity, of all that stuff going on. And your success and your accomplishments as you push through that. And then after all that, finally, you get to take a break. You pause. You put yourself into a state of suspension. This might be the few days or week or the weekend where you do hermit up at home and just Netflix and chill, or whatever the current terminology is for that type of thing. You're taking a time out. It gives you the space to absorb what's happened, to look back on it, to see what worked and what didn't. Oh, wow, which really fits with the next card. Wow, okay. To look at it from a different perspective, maybe a retrospective, if you will. What worked, what didn't work? What would you change? But not taking any action on it. It's just a time of reflection, a time to maybe consider the next options, to look at things as they are now, and maybe even foresee some possibilities for what could be changed, what could evolve in the future. And then we come to the Six of Chalices, which is about reminiscing. It's about remembering the past, the fond memories, and your feelings that were attached to that. So while the Hanged Man here might be more of a technical assessment almost, and a time to do some forecasting or some brainstorming maybe, but not taking any action. The Six of Chalices is going to be about how you felt about it. Coming to terms maybe even with some words or some heightened emotions that occurred, especially at the beginning here. And bring yourself back down from any emotional highs or emotional stress that were occurring there. So feeling into that energy, feeling into the success overall of the project, of the competition, of your success, and even looking back further to see where it all started. But it's not coming at it from negative emotions so much. It's more just, again, it's a reflective energy, a reminiscing, maybe even a little bit of assessment for what you could do differently next time. What would make you feel better next time? What things, what steps, what would you want to put in place? How you would handle things differently that would result in a better emotional experience for you. Interesting. I really like this. This one's fascinating to me. Because it just flows. So it's a little bit you too then with the flowing, going with the flow a little bit, but also that Aries fighting spirit and the energy to push through and make things happen, and taking the initiative in a lot of cases here too. You may even have to take the lead at some points, especially here at the end. That might be where this adjustment piece comes in. And then taking that time out, winding down, and taking time to reflect on what happened and how it impacted you. Maybe even just to process those emotions or things that came up because you were so focused on the task at hand that you didn't have time to deal with that in that moment. And then on the back of the deck, we have the Hierophant. Systems, rules, a teacher, the law. You could be the teacher or the student in this situation. I feel the word systems, though, in particular pushing through. So this could have been a big system change at work or somewhere that you were involved in. It could be involving your own internal systems and maybe a change or something that occurred, something you learned as you went through all of this about yourself. It's almost like you're evolving through this whole situation to that leadership position. So this whole experience might be something as we go into February where an opportunity or something comes up for you to take the lead on something. If you were not the lead now. You may have ended this part as the lead, though. The de facto lead. The person who was making sure it all was successful and you didn't have to roll back, as you will. So there's a sense of you taking on leadership or a leadership role, even though you are not the actual leader. You stepped up and are stepping up. Yeah. Okay, let's see what we have for an oracle for you. We have wonder. Do you ever wonder? What could have been? What if? Ties a lot into this. Even these two. I wonder what would happen if. Or even just that sense of wonder. You might have some of that. I have that feeling sweeping through. The sense of wonder that you actually got it done. And it succeeded and it was on time. A sense of wonder in your own capabilities and accomplishments. And of what the company or you, the team as a whole, managed to put together. And even especially when it comes to the emotional part, there's this emotional connection here. So you were really dedicated to this project. You were really all in on whatever this is. And you're just, toward the end of the month here, you probably won't even realize how emotionally invested you were in the success of this. Until then. Until the end. And how proud you are of your work throughout the whole thing. So be in awe, be in wonder of what you're capable of. Because that's worthy. That's amazing. Now let's see what the book has. Wonder. So far this has not been in alphabetical order, so, oh, but it is. Look at that. First try. All right, let's read this entry for you. So this is told from the perspective of a magical hare rabbit that lives in the Wandwood. So here we go. And you may hear my dog in the background. She's getting impatient. That's okay. So the lunar shroom. Wonder. Zastaculous things happen at the time of the full moon. Magical forces exert their influence. driving the tides and calling to every living creature, even dormant seeds and shrooms nestling deep underground. The same is true of wandwood, where the connection between governing forces above and the recipients below is never more marked than at the time of the full moon, as embodied by the Zastaculus lunar shroom. To find one, simply venture out into the woods a week before the full moon, and there on the ground you'll see the white round beginnings of a sleeping lunar shroom starting to poke through the soft earth, rising in readiness for what lies ahead. Over the next few nights, as the moon waxes to fullness, the lunar shroom grows to reveal its familiar shape that perfectly mimics the moon above, until on the night itself it finally wakes and opens its eyes to stare up in wonderment at its likeness until dawn, before once again closing its eyes and sleepily disappearing into the forest floor until the next full moon. The whole magical cycle repeating itself month after month. All well and good, you may say, but whilst this is charming, what is the secret you promised? What can I learn from such a thing? To begin, you need to understand things from the lunar shroom's point of view. Spending most of its time asleep, either underground or growing, when it finally opens its eyes, it naturally assumes that the full moon is forever there, always shining down from above. The lunar shroom has no knowledge of days, only fully moonlit nights, as this is all it ever knows during its brief waking state. Which brings us to the secret. All too often, we too can assume our superior knowledge, or what we assume to be wisdom, will be enough to convince others of our opinions. I know full well there is daylight, that the moon only waxes full every 28 of them. But to even try to convince a lunar shroom would be a clodabust folly. What I may be aware of means nothing to the shroom and would only serve to confuse it. So, the lunar shroom teaches us the value of understanding others. The lunar shroom does me no harm. Indeed, the sight of it silently staring up into the twinkling lid always makes me feel crumlush. And I know that although our worlds are very different, we are at that magical moment intimately connected, no matter how fleeting the encounter. I have no desire to live like the shroom, missing daylight and the Zastaculus variety of my life. Likewise, the shroom has no desire to live my life either. It is content with what it already has, the perfection of a fully moonlit night. I may have knowledge, but it has only ever wonder. The secret is that both are as magically important as each other. We don't all need to have the same experience to find our place in this world. Each of us has our own uniquely magical part to play, as is your part in these activities this month. I love those. Please hit that like button and please hit subscribe and help me grow my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you later.